So you start by cooking the whole chicken in leaves, bay leaves, avocado leaf is a big one, ginger, celery, garlic, onion. And I'm going to use peanuts. Um, I've seen other recipes where they use peanut butter, but that has too much sugar. So I prefer to use toasted peanuts. So these are not going to be toasted, but everything else will. As you can see, here's garlic, almonds, and pepita seeds. Pepitas are basically sesame seeds, um, pumpkin seeds. That's what I meant about pepita. But sesame seeds are very important. That's basically one of the main ingredients along with chile. I'm adding white flour. Some people add, crackers and tortilla. Here's allspice, black pepper, coriander seeds, and cloves. You can't over toast these because, you'll change the flavor. So you want them to smoke a little bit, but not to burn. So I'm constantly watching over these. So chile pasilla, you remove the seeds, and if you want, you can also remove the veins, which will give it less heat. So this is not fast, but I speeded up the video. And there's chile negro, and you also toast some of the chili seeds, not all of them, because there's a lot of them. So just a ratio to kind of match everything else, and you toast the chiles. So again, be careful, you don't want to burn them or anything like that. And I'm putting them in stock, chicken stock. You could use water, but it's going to dilute the uh, the flavor of the mole, because the mole is going to have chicken stock as the base. And you blend everything to a powder. The reason you want powder is because you want it to get as smooth as possible. The mole, when you had mole, I've had really smooth one, and I think that's the one that they filter out some of the ingredients. But I'm not going to filter anything. I'm going to put everything in there. Right here, I'm going to chop up some onion and do the famous French mirepoix, which is the basic to French cooking sauce. So I'm adding onions, celery, and carrots. And look at the beautiful color of the chiles. Chile morito is basically a jalapeno that's been smoked, dried. And here I'm going to put it in a pan because I want to be in control of ratios. So in the pan, everything's visual versus blending everything in a big blender. And also, I don't have a big blender at this moment. I broke. So I've been using my little blender, but that's better, right? Because I can control the ratios. So here's a dark chocolate, 75% cacao. You can use the Mexican abuelita chocolate, but that, in my opinion, is too sweet. And I'm trying to not make my mole sweet. And if you like sweet mole, then you should probably add the abuelita chocolate. And here I mixed the chocolate because I left one of the morita chiles in there, so I had to blend it all. Look at how the color starts to change. You start to get the dark red, dark chocolate, and here I'm adding the toasted flour. So you see how I'm not going to use all the flour because I just want to cover just a little bit. And so right now what we're doing is we're building up the flavors. And that little head that you see there, that's my son smelling the mole. And here's the rest of the grounded spices. And this one I'm kind of gonna do a lot more than the flour, right? Because it's everything mixed together. That's the peanuts, almonds, etc. And you'd have to be there to really, really smell it, how good everything smells when you're cooking it is something that you have to experience, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this dish because I think it turned out pretty well. Because everything that I used was, fresh. Nothing was processed, and that's really the key to cooking. Is you want to stay as much as possible away from processed food. So this is some work, right? You're gonna have to keep stirring, and I didn't mind that. It's kind of soothing to me. It's too, and then the aromas. Yeah, this is not work. This is something that I love doing. So, and one thing that I can already tell you that I would change about this recipe is I would probably add more red chilies. So maybe chile guajillo and maybe a few more pasillas. But the chile negro is actually really good too. And maybe just put 2 chile moritas. But as here, I put it in a pot. That way I can stir it better. And eventually, I'm going to put actually, I'm not going to add the chicken. I'm going to put the chicken at the last minute when we're going to eat it. Yeah, you want to save this mole. You can store it for a long period of time. If you keep the chicken out of there. So you just take out a little bit of mole and put it on a smaller pot and put your chicken in there. So that you serve your single dish, which you'll be seeing shortly. So I did some tasting. So what you want to do is, I was looking for a certain consistency. You don't want it too runny and you don't want it too thick. So that's kind of a experimental thing that you're going to have to figure out. What's the consistency that you want? So obviously this plate is not complete because it doesn't have rice, doesn't have a lot of things, but right now what's most important is to try the mole and the chicken for the first time. You can taste all those spices that I roasted, and the mole had a few hours to marinate. It is a little bit low on sodium, but that's okay. Sodium you can control, everything else you can't control. So I'm trying to eat a low sodium diet, so that's why I didn't put that much sodium. So I'm trying to pick the ingredient that's above all the other ones, and I think cumin is the one that really, as they would say, stand out. I can't taste the chocolate. The chocolate was 75% cacao, so it's not going to be sweet. It's not runny, as you can see, because mole, after you refrigerate it, all the collagen kind of solidifies and it gives it this nice thickness. But I will get close one day. But for now, the key to this dish is it was done after I worked a long day at work. So this is not something that took a lot of time. So you have to take that into consideration when you're cooking. You want something that's doable during the week. Otherwise, it probably won't get done. And it's not as good as my mom's, so I'll just let you know. So if you want to call it, this is fast food mole, but much better than anything you will get I believe in at a restaurant.